I figured before we actually kick things off, I'll do a little pre-prep segment. As you saw, got the Kraken on deck. Gonna be doing 3 shots of Kraken because before I start filming, I try to get as much alcohol in me to get the process started. Now I know what you're thinking. Why did you just set up 3 shot glasses and down them instead of taking a shot glass, filling it shot, filling it shot, filling it shot? Because 1, I wanted to have this nice little lineup on camera, and 2, I did not want to have to reopen this and pour it a bunch of times. I'm going to get 1 more shot going so that I can make what I'm calling an albino sea beast, where you take some Kraken, whoop, take a shot of Kraken, and pour some vanilla Coke in there. That's what's up. But I'm going to add a 2nd shot of Kraken. Heavy! Hello world of YouTube and welcome to another drunk anime review, where I review anime while a little intoxicated. Today, I'm going to be breaking up the legacy anime, like I said I'd be doing in the last part, by doing smaller anime in between parts of bigger anime. And today I'm going to be reviewing the 1st season of a request by loyal viewer to the channel and friend of mine, Scott, Neo Yokio, which was the brainchild of Ezra Koenig, singer to the indie band Vampire Weekend, starring Susan Sarandon, Jaden Smith, and a myriad of other Jude Laws in this. It's got a really weird cast, like a lot of Netflix properties do, and I thought this thing was fucking weird. You can definitely tell Ezra has a hand in it because it takes place in a New York-like setting, Neo Yokio, and it stars Jaden Smith as this very preppy guy living in this utopian city and dealing with his everyday problems as a demon slayer. It's really fucking bizarre. They have a lot of fashion jokes, a lot of preppy jokes that I can't connect with, but are very weird to see as an outsider to prep culture. And given who's associated with it, it's hard to tell if they're taking it seriously, if they're playing it straight, or if it's meant to be for ironic laughs. I feel like I don't really like Jaden Smith's character, but I love the cast around him. I really love his 2 best friends, and I adore Susan Sarandon's character who plays his aunt. And I even love Jude Law who plays his robot, and they all give him a slice of the real world through a myriad of viewpoints. I'm coming out, it's a big reason why I don't like Jaden Smith's character is because he acts so incredibly entitled. The other characters that are in this show feel so grounded in a reality that's real. The exception to Jason Schwartzman's character, he also acts really entitled. And the other characters say entitled things, but they feel real and more relatable than that fucking twat. Even though it's very absurd, you know, there are serious matters at hand, like there's a gala ball, and the conflict is Jaden Smith's character has to play security instead of taking this pop star to the ball. All of the problems in the show feel so very fucking finite and so fucking superficial that I cannot relate to them. But I really enjoyed how absurd the show gets. There are some sequences that truly baffled me with how out of touch with the world they seemed. But I will say I feel like this season was setting up for a much bigger socio-political topic to cover in future seasons, which I do admire. There's a sequence in the last episode where they show a lot of the world outside of Neo Yokio, and I hope that they explore that in future episodes, because what's here, I don't think I'm all that invested in these characters outside of the side characters. Like I said, his best friends are phenomenal, and in the episode where they go to the Hamptons, they are fucking hilarious. I love them. Jason Schwartzman's character is kind of a snob as well. I can't really relate to him. It almost feels like it's trying to be a Scott Pilgrim type show with a self-awareness to its culture, only it's a culture that I have no relation to and feel so far removed from that it's baffling. You know, in the episode where they go to the Hamptons, they do some socio-political woke stuff in realms of gender, and I think that shit like that is important to talk about, and I like that Ezra Koenig decided to incorporate that into his anime, but it also feels so out of place when the basic plots are about a girl who forgoes her fashion-forward lifestyle and becomes a recluse, you know, or there's a terrorist bombing that's supposed to dismantle the very fashionistic, you know, self-indulgent, arrogant side of the society they live in, to have an episode that rallies against transphobia just feels a little out of place. There's a lot of tonal whiplash that happens in this show, and in that episode in particular, which is my favorite episode of the season, because you had Jude Law's character going through some turmoil, the side characters all go through turmoil, and Jaden Smith just looks like the fucking asshole that he actually is, the character anyway. And I didn't connect with the show, personally, but I couldn't stop indulging in the madness and absurdity that was the plots of these episodes. I'm not a big fan of the animation. I feel like it's a little basic. There are some points where it gets really nice, but a majority of it feels a little more low budget than like the Castlevania anime, which is also a Netflix property. There's also an episode that talks about, you know, that really relishes and addresses the topic of
the absurdity within fame and followers, because the girl who becomes a recluse gets basically a cult-like following within this town, and it gets just, again, odd.
And it makes me all the more curious about Ezra Koenig's mind, because his Twitter is really fucking weird, and it's weird that he pulled all of these people together to tell this story. Steve Buscemi plays a giant figurehead in the tail end of the season, and he fits about as much as Jude Law does. It's not anything I'd write home about. There's other anime that adorn this very preppy look at the world.
I'm not all that familiar with those, and I feel like one of the things that makes this very weird that I didn't address in the video proper is that it takes these Western socio-political stances. You know, it feels very Americanized with its stories or with its stances it's trying to make. But maybe that's just me.
It almost feels like Heathers. Have you ever seen Heathers? Heathers is a really great movie, but its main character, Winona Ryder's character, is the character that Jaden Smith's character tries to get with in this show. Winona Ryder is her, and she actually kind of sounds like Winona Ryder, the voice actress that does her, and I feel like she should be the focal point of the show, not Jaden Smith's spoiled, entitled little shit character. I don't like him. You know, I like everything else about this anime as far as the characters go, except for
Jason Schwartzman's character. And they try to give his character a sort of victory moment, but I don't know, it doesn't feel like that.
I wish it went a little more heavy-handed with the socio-political stuff if it's going to do that, because I think if Ezra Koenig is going to use this anime as a platform to get socio-political, I like that he's doing it against the backdrop of this preppy atmosphere. I just wish he made the focal point less of a shit person, and maybe that'll happen in the second season, but I just don't like him this season. I don't know. As far as the scope of anime go, it was okay. I'm not a big fan of it. there's a Christmas special that I didn't want to watch after binging the first season of the show. The show has a nice endpoint. It's only 6 episodes, but if you're not a fan of the preppy aesthetic that the show aims for, you're probably not going to get into the show. I watched it because it was requested, and while I don't regret the experience I had, I've watched better anime. It's just weird. It's weird what the stances it takes, and the stances that it takes do not fit the aesthetic of the show, but I think that's kind of the point. And again, I'm hoping in the future seasons they really deconstruct the society that the show is surrounded by in much heavier doses, but we'll see if that happens. Next episode, I'm going to be talking about part 2 of Full Metal Alchemist in February, so get your gears up for that. I'm going to go. I'm Valrak. You guys have good days out of situations. I'll see you another day.